It is me, Dominique, bringing you a Bible trivia compilation. This video has episodes 301 through 325 in it, which is 175 questions, I believe. 7 questions for 25 episodes. I'm pretty sure that's how math works. But I'll see you at the end of the video. Let me know how you do. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 301 of Bible Trivia. Who was the first murderer in the Bible? If you said Cain, you are correct. Put the following places in order in which Jesus lived: Egypt, Nazareth, and Bethlehem. If you said Bethlehem, Egypt, Nazareth, you are correct. What did Jesus say we have to do first if we want to see miracles? If you said have faith, you are correct. Which one of the disciples was the treasurer of the group and looked after the money? If you said Judas, you are correct. In Jesus' parable of the talents, how many talents did the servant who was given one end up with? If you said 0, you are correct. On what part of Jesus' body did Mary pour perfume? If you said his feet, you are correct. Fill in the blank. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down for his friends. If you said life, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 302 of Bible Trivia. When God said to Solomon he could have anything he wanted, what did Solomon choose? If you said wisdom, you are correct. Who was the first woman in the Bible named? If you said Eve, you are correct. Fill in the following blank. A woman was bleeding for 12 years and was healed when she touched the of Jesus' garment. If you said hem, you are correct. What 3 men were thrown into a fiery furnace? If you said Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you are correct. Which prophet spent 3 days in a big fish? If you said Jonah, you are correct. Who brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh? To whom? If you said the wise men, to Jesus, you are correct. Who said the following? For the poor always you will have, but me you will not always have. If you said Jesus, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 303 of Bible Trivia. Fill in the following blank. Jesus told us not to worry about the future because each has enough trouble of its own. If you said day, you are correct. What is another term for the Magi? If you said the wise men, you are correct. How many angels are named in the Bible? If you said 3, you are correct. Bonus questions if you named them. To whom did God say, I am that I am? If you said Moses, you are correct. Which prophet spent 3 days somewhere and then miraculously was spit back out? If you said Jonah, you are correct. Who is the only person named in the Bible who died on a hill called the place of the skull? If you said Jesus, you are correct. Who was cheated out of his father's blessing when Jacob wore goat skins on his arm? If you said Esau, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 304 of Bible Trivia. Who explained the meaning of the Pharaoh's dream of 7 fat cows and 7 lean cows? If you said Joseph, you are correct. What is it called when you give 10% of your money to the Lord regularly? If you said tithe, you are correct. How many days was the prophet Jonah in the belly of the whale? If you said 3, you are correct. What other name for Jacob is also the name of a country? If you said Israel, you are correct. Name the wife of Jacob. If you said Rachel, you are correct. What did Martha warn Jesus about when he went into the tomb of Lazarus to raise him from the dead? If you said the stench, you are correct. Jesus taught if someone is mean to us, we should not try to get even. This is because... If you said chic, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 305 of Bible Trivia. What did Moses' people put on their doors so that their firstborn children would not die in the plague upon Egypt?
The blood of the lamb.
If you said lamb's blood, you are correct. Which king built the first temple of Jerusalem? If you said Solomon, you are correct. What kind of animal did Elijah prophesy would lick up the blood of King Ahab?
Said dogs.
If you said dogs, you are correct. Name Samson's Philistine girlfriend.
Delilah.
Excuse me. If you said Delilah, you are correct. What's the first book in the Bible?
Genesis, I think.
If you said Genesis, you are correct. What was the name of the man who carried Jesus' cross?
What was the name of the man that carried Jesus' cross?
Yeah. If you said Simon, you are correct. What do we call the stories that Jesus told to teach a lesson? If you said parables, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 306 of Bible Trivia. Fill in the following blank. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your... If you said path, you are correct. Who said the following? Prepare you the way of the Lord, make his path straight. If you said John the Baptist, you are correct. How many years did Jacob offer to work for Laban in exchange for the hand of Rachel? If you said 7, you are correct. Whom did Laban give Jacob as his first wife, even though he had promised Rachel to Jacob? If you said Leah, you are correct. Who sent Moses back to Egypt from Midian to free the Israelites? If you said God, you are correct. In which land was Moses when God spoke to him from a burning bush? If you said Midian, you are correct. What did Jacob use for a pillow the night he had a dream of a ladder reaching heaven? If you said a rock, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 307 of Bible Trivia. Fill in the blank. For where 2 or more are gathered together in my... there I am in the midst of them. If you said name, you are correct. What did the disciple Peter do to Malchus when the soldiers were arresting Jesus? If you said cut off his ear, you are correct. What were the people called who lived in Colossae? If you said Colossians, you are correct. Name the man Ruth married after collecting grain in his fields. If you said Boaz, you are correct. What swallowed the prophet Jonah? If you said a big fish or a whale, you are correct. From which city were the Thessalonians? If you said Thessalonica, you are correct. In order to test the faithfulness of Abraham, what did God ask him to do with his son? If you said sacrifice him, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 308 of Bible Trivia. To whom did the coat of many colors belong? If you said Joseph, you are correct. What country's kings were called pharaohs? If you said Egypt, you are correct. Name the brother of Martha. If you said Lazarus, you are correct. What did Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel all have in common? If you said they were prophets, you are correct. How many baskets were used to pick up the leftover food after Jesus fed 4,000 people with 7 loaves and a few fish? If you said 7, you are correct. What were the stories called where Jesus told to teach a lesson or a moral? If you said parables, you are correct. In Jesus' parable of the 10 virgins, what did they need oil for? If you said lamps, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 309 of Bible Trivia. Who were prevented from entering a place by an angel with a flaming sword? If you said Adam and Eve, you are correct. In what river was Jesus baptized? If you said the Jordan River, you are correct. When Jesus saved the lives of all the disciples, they were amazed that even the wind and what else obeyed him. If you said the sea, you are correct. Who killed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of a donkey? If you said Samson, you are correct. What is another word for disciple starting with the letter A? If you said apostle, you are correct. After Jesus was baptized, the Spirit of God landed on him in the form of a what? If you said a dove, you are correct. Fill in the following blank. I am the truth, and the life. If you said way, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 310 of Bible Trivia. On what mountain did Noah's Ark rest? If you said Mount Ararat, you are correct. From what did God make woman? If you said Adam's rib, you are correct. Which New Testament character's consumption of alcohol was prohibited before birth by an angel? If you said John the Baptist, you are correct. How many days did it take Joseph and Mary to find Jesus in the temple with the teachers? If you said 3, it's a magic number. You're correct. Which prophet was imprisoned for allegedly switching allegiance from Judah to Babylon? If you said Jeremiah, you are correct. Who was thrown out of a window by 3 officials in the Old Testament? If you said Jezebel, you are correct. Which individual made the first golden calf recorded in the Bible? If you said Aaron, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 311 of Bible Trivia. Into how many rivers did the river divide that flowed out of the Garden of Eden? If you said 4, you are correct. What was Paul's trade or job? If you said he was a tent maker, you are correct. Which book of the Bible records a beauty contest to replace a queen? If you said Esther, you are correct. Who ordered the building of the first fleet of ships recorded in the Bible? If you said Solomon, you are correct. What was following close behind the rider Death in Revelation? If you said Hades, you are correct. What is the 5th book in the Bible? If you said Deuteronomy, you are correct. What was the name of the charitable Christian centurion who invited Peter to his home? If you said Cornelius, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 212 of Bible Trivia. In the story of the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt, what man was appointed by God to lead them out? If you said Moses, you are correct. Which of the following women was not married to a king? Ruth, Jezebel, Esther, or Bathsheba? If you said Ruth, you are correct. Which of the following men was a prophet of God? Nicodemus, Nathaniel, Nahum, or Nebuchadnezzar? If you said Nahum, you are correct. Name the woman who poured perfume on Jesus' feet at Bethany. If you said Mary, you are correct. How many stories or levels did Noah's Ark have? If you said 3, you are correct. What did Jesus wear on his head when he was on the cross? If you said a crown of thorns, you are correct. According to Luke 10:27, we should love God with all of our heart, strength, mind, and... If you said soul, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 313 of Bible Trivia. What part of a man's body is named after a man in the Bible? If you said Adam's apple, you are correct. What is the man called who is the head of the Roman Catholic Church? If you said the Pope, you are correct. Jesus once healed 10 men at once with the same disease. What was the disease? If you said leprosy, you are correct. Who were Andrew, Thomas, and Simon? If you said disciples of Jesus, you are correct. Which book of the Bible comes just before Matthew? If you said Malachi, you are correct. Jesus knew at least 7 women with the same name. What was the name? If you said Mary, you are correct. Fill in the following blank. Jesus said, "In my Father's house are many. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." If you said mansions, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 314 of Bible Trivia.
In what did Joseph's brothers dip his coat? If you said blood, you are correct. What was the name of the governor who placed a sign over Jesus on the cross saying, "The King of the Jews"? If you said Pilate, you are correct. How many days was it dark during the plague of darkness over Egypt in Exodus? If you said 3, you are correct. Who once suggested a baby be cut in half knowing its real mother would protest? If you said Solomon, you are correct. Which book of the Bible comes before Proverbs? If you said Psalms, you are correct. What object did Jesus ask for just before he said the following? "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar, and unto God what is God's"? If you said a coin, you are correct. Jesus promised he will return, but said that we will not know the day nor the... If you said hour, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 315 of Bible Trivia. God the Father physically wrote something only 3 times in the Bible. The last was on a wall. What did he write on both the first times? If you said stone tablets, you are correct. Hades is a Greek word sometimes used in the Bible as another name for what place? If you said hell, you are correct. According to the Bible, when can you tell a prophecy is not from God? If you said when it doesn't happen, you are correct. To whose house did Jesus invite himself unasked? If you said Zacchaeus, you are correct. Which New Testament book comes before Matthew? If you said Nan, you are correct. According to the Bible, how many times did Jesus sin in his life? If you said 0, you are correct. According to Proverbs 31:10, what is better to have than rubies? If you said a good wife, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 316 of Bible Trivia. In which book in the Bible do we find the story of Jacob and Esau? If you said Genesis, you are correct. In what book in the Old Testament do we find the story of the fall of Jericho? If you said Joshua, you are correct. What fraction of Jerusalem will collapse because of the earthquake according to Revelations 11? If you said 1/10, you are correct. Recite John 3:16. If you said, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life, you are correct. Who asked the following question? Where is he that is born King of the Jews? If you said the wise men or the magi, you are correct. The title of what book of the Bible means the preacher? If you said Ecclesiastes, you are correct. Complete the following quotation. Verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become as, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. If you said little children, you are correct. It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 317 of Bible Trivia. What did the Israelite priests carry as a signal for the people to cross the River Jordan? If you said the Ark of the Covenant, you are correct. What kind of weather did the Pharisees and the Sadducees say would be the next day when the evening sky was red? If you said fair or good, you are correct. What did Peter walk on, amazing the other disciples? If you said the water, you are correct. What was the name of David's father? If you said Jesse, you are correct. Name the first book beginning with the letter L in the Bible. If you said Leviticus, you are correct. Who said the following? Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. If you said the wise men or the magi, you are correct. Fill in the following blank. For if any man is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things are passed away. Behold, things are become. If you said new, everything new, you are correct. It is me, Dominique,
Olivia,
Hector,
and Emma,
bringing you episode
318 of Bible Trivia.
When Noah sent the dove out of the ark the second time, what happened?
If you said it returned with a leaf or an olive branch, you are correct. What is another name for Golgotha?
which one do I read?
Second answer.
If you said Calvary or place of the school, you are correct. What apostle wrote the following? Greet another with a holy kiss.
If you said Paul, you are correct. Name Benjamin's father.
Schlegel. If you said Jacob or Israel, you are correct. Which number of the 7 days of creation did God say should be a rest?
If you said the 7th, you are correct. Who at first didn't want Jesus to wash his feet at the Last Supper?
If you said Peter, you are correct. When God spoke to Moses from the burning bush, from where did he promise Moses he would deliver the Israelites?
If you said Egypt, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 319 of Bible Trivia.
Of Noah's 3 sons, which one saw him uncovered when he had become drunk with wine? If you said Ham, you are correct. What Jewish feast is used to remind the Jews of the time God spared the lives of the children whose parents put lamb's blood on the doors? If you said the Passover, you are correct. Who found honey inside the dead body of a lion? If you said Samson, you are correct. Who threw down 30 pieces of silver onto the floor of the temple? If you said Judas, you are correct. How many sisters did Eve have? If you said 0, you are correct. How did Judas show the priests which man was Jesus when he betrayed him? If you said by giving him a kiss, you are correct. What kind of man did Jesus say builds his house upon a rock? If you said a wise man, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 320 of Bible Trivia.
Fill in the blank. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it. If you said holy, you are correct. What did Satan try to get Jesus to change into bread? If you said stones, you are correct. How many letters of Paul to the Thessalonians are included in the Bible? If you said 2, you are correct. What were the names of any 2 disciples of Jesus who were fishers and brothers? If you said Simon, Peter, and Andrew, or James and John, you are correct. What did God make Adam do just before he created woman? If you said, take a little nappy nap, you are correct. What place was guarded by an angel with a flaming sword? If you said the Garden of Eden, you are correct. Who did the snake tell Eve she would be like when she ate the forbidden fruit and her eyes were opened? If you said God, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique,
And Rosie.
bringing you episode 321 of Bible Trivia.
When God saved baby Moses from the wicked Pharaoh, what was the most important plan God had for Moses when he became an adult?
If you said to help the Israelites flee from Egypt, you are correct. Which of the following ladies was married to King David? Bathsheba, Esther, Jezebel, or Ruth?
If you said Bathsheba, you're correct. What disease is mentioned in the Bible more than any other?
If you said leprosy, you are correct. Which one of the disciples tried to get the other to follow Jesus back to Bethany so they could die with him?
If you said Thomas, you're correct. How many disciples did Jesus have in the early days of his ministry?
If you said 12, you are correct. What nickname did the disciple Thomas earn for not believing Jesus had risen from the dead?
If you said Doubting Thomas, you're correct. According to Luke 10:27, we should love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and...
If you said strength, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 322 of Bible Trivia.
What did Jesus tell the rich young ruler to do if he wanted to be perfect? If you said sell everything he had and give the money to the poor, you are correct. Which disciple was first to enter the tomb after Jesus rose from the dead? If you said Simon or Peter, you are correct. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, how many people passed by the robbery victim without helping him? If you said 2, you are correct. Name the wife of Zacharias. If you said Elizabeth, you are correct. In which Old Testament book do we read about the fall of the city of Jericho? If you said Joshua, you are correct. Who had a dream of cows and corn? If you said Pharaoh, you are correct. Who drove Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden? If you said God, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 323 of Bible Trivia.
How did Samson lose his strength? If you said his hair was cut or shaved, you are correct. Into what country was Joseph sold as a slave? If you said Egypt, you are correct. In Joseph's dream of a sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him, who did the 11 stars represent? If you said Joseph's brothers, you are correct. Who was Rebekah's husband? If you said Isaac, you are correct. Fill in the following blank. For all have and fallen short of the glory of God. If you said sinned, you are correct. For how many days and nights did it rain during the Great Flood? If you said 40 days and nights, you are correct. Who said the following? In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. If you said Jesus, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 324 of Bible Trivia.
Fill in the blank. Thou shalt love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your... If you said mind, you are correct. Who does the following verse refer to? And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. If you said Jesus, you are correct. In Pharaoh's dream of the fat and lean cows, how many cows were there altogether? If you said 14, you are correct. What relative was Moses of Aaron? If you said his brother, you are correct. In which book of the Bible do we read of the rainbow that God put in the sky? If you said Genesis, you are correct. What king saw God's handwriting on a wall? If you said Belshazzar, you are correct. From what part of Adam's body did God make the first woman? If you said the rib, you are correct.
It is me, Dominique, bringing you episode 325 of Bible Trivia.
What did Joseph hope to earn by working for Laban for 7 years? If you said a wife or Rachel as a wife, you are correct. What king made his subjects bow down when they heard music? If you said Nebuchadnezzar, you are correct. How was Zacharias punished for not believing an angel that his old wife would have a baby? If you said he became dumb or unable to speak for a while, you are correct. What relative was Jacob of Benjamin? If you said Jacob was his father, you are correct. Is the book of Nathaniel in the Old or the New Testament? No. If you said trick question, it's not a book. You are correct. To whose house did Jesus once invite himself unasked? If you said Zacchaeus, you are correct. Jesus said that if we don't believe he is who he claims to be, we will be forgiven, die in sin, change our minds, or see a miracle. If you said die in sin, you are correct. I would like to thank you for watching and participating, answering the questions. How did you do out of the 175 questions? Let me know down below. If you'd like to follow me on any other platform, those will be in the description box down below. And look out for more episodes that come out every weekday on TikTok. The 2 bonus questions are found here on YouTube in Shorts or over on Instagram. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. I'll see you next time. Bye.